It's our plan to win. Our plan is character, smart, discipline, tough, which means it talks. Character speaks to recruiting young men that men are service oriented. The greatest thing you can do as a teacher is teach people to serve and to give. If I asked everybody in this room, what's the greatest thing you've done in your life? It's probably not going to be journalism. It's surely not winning. Coaching football for me is a passion. I love it. But be a father. Be a husband, be a son, right? Be a daughter. That's what's important. So our whole philosophy here is based on family values, and it starts with character. And obviously the second principle is smart. We want to recruit people that value their intelligence, that value their education, that we believe the smarter player is the better player, right? Are we just going to go and out-talent everybody? So our plan to win is to out-teach, to outsmart, to out-discipline, to out-character our opponent. And so we think that that's something that that makes you unique, and that's our plan to win in this conference, which is a huge challenge to do. And I think obviously we have done that in the past, and I think that the key has been in those years our teams were extremely disciplined, and we played obviously very smart football. Well, it's been my first time to talk since Coach Kush's passing, and it meant a lot to me, the time that I got to spend with him, and we'd have coffee on Wednesday mornings, and I would tell him, "Hey man, make yourself at home," and he sure did, and I enjoyed. He thought I was soft, and he would tell me how soft it was, and this is fascinated by. As he got to the end, it was amazing to me, and I wanted to share this story because I think it's something the fans would think is, would value. Is, he would, obviously would forget some things and things like that, but he could remember every single play. He would ask me, "Why did you do this? Why on 3rd down and 2? You're doing this," and then there were simple things that he was forgetting. So the things that you hold dear, that you're passionate about, are the last things that he held on to, and so it's an honor for me to get to coach here, and that's why it's so important to me. I guess I'm an old history teacher. I love this country. I love getting to do what I get to do. I'm very blessed to do it. And I just, I guess my granddad's kind of influence on me, just that I think that's just, and I think it's key to the fact that we reach out and we embrace our former players, and our tradition is that I want our kids to walk down the hall and know it has been done, and that's big, that we can do it. So I don't know, I just think that's something, I'm big into that, and patriotic. That's just something that's very, very important to me, and I think it's, I think that was, I cherish the time I've gotten to spend with, obviously, Coach Kush was special. I mean, going to Camp Tonazona is going to be really special because he basically built that place, and just, I mean, look at 176 wins, and what he did was absolutely amazing. So why would we not? Is my point. So, and I want our kids to understand, and I think you play harder when you have a cause in your heart and you represent something bigger than yourself. And I think the last conversation I had with Coach Kush, and he talked about it every time we talked about being a Sun Devil, is about being one tough, you know what. And so that's why our motto this year is Sun Devil Tough, and that's something that without that relationship, you don't get that. And there's some things that I learned from him at the end of his life. I learned some things just because I was willing to reach out and learn and be open to have him around and embrace him. And so I think this is a place that all Sun Devils can be proud of, and that's something that's important to me. I can't hear you. Well, I can tell you, Coach Cassidy has been a great partner for me in this thing, and being a part of being able to have the opportunity that Dr. Crow gave me here, and to be able to work with him, work with Ray, the vision that we have now. I don't think there's ever been a coach that's had the situation that I've been in, and Tim's been unbelievable. He is with me in every dinner and every fundraising event, and this has been a passion for me. This is in my life. I'm sure that I'll never get to do this again. I'm 52 years old. I'm not old. I got a lot left in me, but it's just been a passion to get this done. And obviously, for me and my wife and my family, we committed to doing this thing. And then for all the supporters, I mean, unprecedented support. There's no way this would have ever happened. I mean, never before in the history of our program if we had our supporters step up the way they have. And so I'm very, very grateful to them. And so it is. It's, I love this. I love coming to work every day, and I love doing what I'm doing. And I think we've created something really unique and special here. And I think it's going to impact our program moving forward in a big way.
That's what I was going to ask you. I mean, college football is not a level playing field as far as facilities and all that money, all that goes.
Right.
Do you feel like now, since you've been here, the stadium's being reworked, you have this now, do you feel like you guys have enough to take this wherever you want to?
I think it's critical that people see a commitment, and so obviously, we'll finish the stadium after this next year, and you're moving into a brand new football complex. Now, this thing doesn't have. We haven't tried to go over the top lavishly with stuff, but we wanted to build a facility that fit who we are, and who we are as a university is we're number one in the country in innovation. And so when Dr. Crow hired me here, it was because he wanted a teacher. He wanted someone that believed in the teaching model. And so I think that we have designed and developed a facility that is unique to who we are and what our plan is to win. And I think it's going to have a huge impact. It already has in recruiting. And let me tell you this, when you're building something and you're showing somebody pictures, that's one thing. Because I even described to you guys what this is a lot different to experience and to see it. And it speaks volumes about commitment, who we are, and also just the fact of the matter is being able to develop our players. And when obviously 5 years ago or 6 years ago, we were very far behind when it come to our facilities and our ability to teach and train our players. And that's one of the reasons when I first came here, we redid the weight room and those type of things. But just the difference in the weight room. I mean, I would love when you get done here, walk over there and go in the weight room and where there's no light, there's no, and just, it's really, really, because I hadn't been back since I moved over a couple weeks ago, Tim. And so it was, this is going to be a thing that's going to really impact our program in a big way. Well, I mean, I don't know if y'all watched the tour our players took. Did you see their reaction? I mean, that's the reaction that the recruits will have. It's brick and mortar, but it's the thing that how it fits who we are and how it was designed and how it's going to operate and develop on our players is far more important than the wow factor. And it's very practical. The building's very practical. It's very high tech. And that's who we are. The innovation part of it, I think, is going to be critical to development. The number one impact it's going to have is development. Yes, it's going to impact recruiting. I don't see how it couldn't, because young people are pretty impressionable when it comes to that. But the biggest thing that it's going to do, it's going to impact our ability to win football games on the field, and that's the number one thing that impacts recruiting and improving your personnel. Oh yeah, everything in here. When we designed it, and Tim and Lindsay and the people that are in here know, we started on the drive up. When you pull up and you look through the windows where everything was located and how we can impact you walking up to the door when you come in the front door. And obviously it's not all done yet. So the first thing you do when you walk in the front door, you're going to see right there is going to be the Rose Bowl champion trophy, right? And then you see the Lombardi trophy. You're going to see those different trophies. You're going to see the fact that we have won the Rose Bowl championship. You're going to see those things as you walk in the door. And then the first thing you're going to see is what we're all about, is training, right? So you're going to walk right in that door, and you're going to see that weight room. And you can see the weight room from the street, from Rio Salado out there. You can see the weight room. Obviously you can see our signage when you look from the parking lot and from Rio Salado. The One Go champions. And so from a recruiting standpoint, the path from which we take recruits is designed, and then when we bring our players in and how we go about how they operate in the building, how they move through the building. So everything, there's a reason for everything that's in here and where it's located. There's a specific reason why. When you get in, you see that first area right there. The first floor is lobby, Hall of Fame, our great tradition, and the weight room. Then you get on the elevator and go to the next floor. You walk off. It's all the success we've had with our guys going on to the next level in the NFL, honoring them, right? And then also you see the military appreciation part of it, which is a big part of Arizona State and what we're about. So everything is in there for a reason, and that's one of the things I was trying to do a while ago is thank Tim. Tim's been a huge part of this, and Tim worked at A&M, worked at Nebraska, worked at Florida, and he did a lot of the research, and then he had to work with a crazy person who has crazy ideas about how we want to do things. Today was the big part that we didn't go in the locker room. We didn't go in the coaches' particular offices. I'm proud of what we've done with the locker room and how we can take care of our players. We have cold tanks, a cold tank in the locker room. So what I mean is, as far as maintenance with our players afterwards, after practice every day, they got a cold tank they can get right into. We have technology built into their lockers where they can do just about anything they can at a computer at their locker. Some of the things we did with the families. So at every locker, who put you here? So when you walk into my locker, it has a picture of me and my mother, and that's who was the most responsible for me putting me here. So there's some things like that. And the players area is even though you're going to see it, you probably already have seen it all over the internet. It's just it's sacred to me, that locker room and the players and what we have in there. So I'm very proud of the entire building. The dining hall out here is going to be really cool. I think on game day, the fact that we have we're one of the unique things that we do is all of our former players line the Tillman Tunnel. So you pass through the men that have come before you go to the field of battle, which I think is pretty cool. And that's going to be a Letterman's meeting place and Letterman's suite on game day, which is going to be pretty cool. And that's a way of activating and saying that our former players are important to us. And so there's lots of great, and from being able to feed our players, something as simple as that. We actually have a state-of-the-art kitchen. That would be the number one thing I'd want you to see that you didn't see today, is the kitchen. I'd love to have a picture of what we were using and what we're using now. That might be the most dramatic difference. And let me tell you, the nutrition and what you're eating, and eating right, sleeping right, and living right is really critical to being successful and to competing at a high level. So there's not any area of our players' development that's not impacted by this building. And they got a nice little players lounge in there too.
Yesterday, after the summer workouts ended, a lot of players talked about that toughness, also talked about leadership enhancing, being more accountable. Is that the sentiment that you've been getting all throughout the offseason?
Well, the one thing that I'm excited about is the investment. Our players invested. I think they would tell you it's probably as good as spring and maybe the best summer that we've had as far as our players' 100% commitment and the training and development that went in. These guys have checked that box. I don't, you know, that they have. I'm excited about the investment they made this summer, and they know how tough this league is and how difficult it is. But I'm really proud of what they did this summer, and I think we're you reap what you sow, and these guys invested a great deal this summer and worked as hard as any group I've ever had. Yeah, I wish you wouldn't ask that. You know, I'm all for. I think we could have. Hopefully, we'll figure it out a little bit better. I mean, our coaches lost a week and a half of time with their families, and there's very little time right now. Next year, we'll have official visits all the way through June. All right, so now we're reporting July 24th. When does you ever have any downtime? And so I think that's tough. So that's kind of tough. But on the same hand, I mean, student athlete well-being comes first, not coach's vacation. So, I do think we could figure that out. I think going to one-a-days is a smart thing. We really basically were doing that. But also, too, one thing I think is really important is this game is the greatest game on earth, and it is a very physical game. But it can be played safely. But you also need to practice. You need to be able to practice how to, tackle and to block and to have your eyes up and to teach the safety things about it. So I think increasing it and the reporting earlier was how they did away with the 2-a-days, which I think is a positive deal, and not having 2-a-days I think is a positive deal. But also you're added a week and a half to the players as far as that time as far as practice. So I think it's a good thing that we're heading the right direction with that. I do think it's important that this game is a contact sport, and it's important to teach them to have the ample time to teach guys the proper way to tackle. We don't go out and tackle to the ground. We very seldom do that. We're teaching a rugby-style tackle where we're taking the head completely out of it. One of the things that you'll find is, I don't know, probably the last 2 years in all of football, NFL and college, has been the worst tackling I've ever seen. And I think it has a lot to do, you don't practice it. So that's something that's important that we practice it. But student-athlete well-being and safety and protecting this game is something that, I defer to the experts on the decisions that they make and whatever they decide to do. And if it's benefiting the young people and making it safer, our game safer, then I'm all for it. I really don't have a lot of concern, man. I'm excited. Probably the biggest concern going into the summer was just our staff. I'm more concerned about staff, and you know how I feel about turnover and all that stuff. I don't like all that. That's kind of the nature. I think what was there, like 4 teams, Tim? 4 teams in the Power 5 that didn't have turnover. That's just the nature of it. But the good thing is I feel really good about our leadership. I feel great about Coach Napier and Coach Bennett, and we've had to spend a lot of time just trying to get on the same page. And I'm not talking about the same page with me, because obviously I'm hiring people that philosophically believe in the teacher model and what we're doing. I'm talking about offensively and defensively blending and making sure we got everybody on the same page and how we operate practice. There's just things that I was not, when we first got here, the guys we had been together a long time. And so we really didn't have to talk about, like, where's everybody on the field and when are we doing this, and, like, camp tea, campfires, and what that talk is, and all the things that we do. There's a lot of stuff in there, Tim. So mainly, I tell you what, the thing that I'm the most confident about is this team and the investment that they've made. I've been very impressed. Because leadership's not a talk, it's a walk. And so I'm excited. And I'm going to tell you this, I think that's in direct correlation to the leadership on our staff. So obviously they're my guys. I'm all in. So I think that's the thing. If there's anything, is just making sure that we are really organized in what we're doing. And the other thing too, I'm going to tell you, all this stuff and all the things that are happening in the program and all that stuff is to get, okay, we got this, what we need. Now let's get focused on what we're doing. And for myself and for everybody, that's been the thing that we've got to do, is really focus, because I think you can look at our schedule and I think it's ranked like second in the league or something like that. And we got a challenging schedule. Good. That's what we signed up for. We're excited about it and looking forward to this season and looking forward to this team. And man, Sam Jones and Kalen Balaj and JoJo Wicker, the guys that were elected team captain, we might add one to that. But I've been so impressed with this senior leadership, with the leadership on this team and the investment they've made this summer. I don't know. Is Taco Tuesday still in place? Yeah. I think some of our players don't want to do it every Tuesday. And so if you play and you actually make plays, then you have more input than the people that don't. So I like Taco Tuesday, but I don't know if we're going to do it every Tuesday. Go ahead. Oh, Jeff? Well, one, I think the fact that we have newcomers and new talent, new people coming in is a good thing, because obviously you're not going to hear me mention much about last year, but where you need improvement, you want to have that was an area of focus and concern for us in recruiting, and I can tell you throughout the spring and summer that development has been something I've been impressed with. So I've got confidence that we got the right guys. Do what?
The quarterback competition, will it unfold like it did last year? No announcement until
I don't know. I think everybody knew, including yourself, before that. Just I didn't make an announcement. Guess if you guys want me to make an announcement, I can. I mean, but no, I just didn't want to let our opponent know who's going to play. I think our opponent knew. I think everybody knew. Our players. But I'm going to tell you this. Like I said before on the quarterback deal, we have a returning starter. He's the starting quarterback till somebody beats him out. Is there competition? Big-time competition. And I think it was I like that. I like that we got competition in a lot of spots. That tells you, what kind of depth you have, in which we've had, little of in certain positions. So I'm excited about that group, and really proud of Brady White. Brady's suffered a really tough injury, and he's working hard in his rehabilitation to make it back. I don't project that'll be this year, but he is working his tail off to do that. So he is not out for the year, but he is. There was a 12-month recovery with his injury. So really proud of him and how hard he's working to make it back, and that's critical to us as well. Oh, I think the summer was critical. I think the summer was highly competitive. I think obviously both of our quarterbacks that are competing to be the starter are. It's going to be competitive, but that's a good thing. Like I said, we have a starting quarterback, and so as far as making an announcement, if somebody beats him out, I guess we can make that announcement. But right now we have a starting quarterback, and Blake knows that. He's got to beat him out. So I'm looking forward to seeing that competition. I'm looking forward to a very physical Sun Devil tough training camp. So I'm looking forward to seeing that competition. We got a competition in a lot of spots, and that I like the blue collar mentality that our players have taken in their approach to training and preparation. And I'm looking forward to this camp, and really excited about our leadership, our new coordinators, and the leadership on our staff. I'm real pleased about at this point, and so yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'll tell you, he'd have loved the training aspect of it. He would have loved to have had one. But he'd probably tell you, well, I'll tell you what, you better not be soft going in that building. You know, he's all about, you know, making it, you know, tough people come out of tough times. But no, he was aware, and I'd showed him the things that we were doing. He would get real quiet when I would do anything that recognized him. He did. I could tell he appreciated what we had done for the former players, and he was really more like a. He would talk to me like almost like a dad. Like he would tell me, like, "Look, quit worrying about that building and building all that stuff, and worry about, you know, getting those guys tough, and you gotta get them and gotta get them, you know." But he would tell me quite often that I was soft. He did not like. He wanted us to run the football a lot better. But no, I think he would. If he was coaching, he would be pretty fired up about this building. But he would also, I think, just being honest with you, I think he would, you know, he's just from a different era, man. I mean, he would think that was some of it was ridiculous. Like the technology part of it, he'd go, "What are you talking about? Get out there and hit somebody in the mouth. Technology. What does technology got to do with it?" Yeah. He did, but he would. I tell you this though, you know what? Every time he said that, and where I'm talking about his input is during the season. In 2014. He got about 7th game of the season, and he came in and said, "I'm just telling you, from a run game standpoint, you guys are getting soft." And he was exactly right, because we had started to fall off that back half of that year in our run game. So he was pretty accurate in the things he said too. And he is right. The team that is the most mentally and physically tough team is going to win. And, you know, he also loved kids, and he loved the players, and, you know, I'm going to miss him. You know, I knew when we carried him off the field at Camp T that was probably the last time. And, you know, he meant a lot. He meant a lot to our program, and I got a lot of respect for him. And you know, I'm closing in on right around 100 wins, something like that. I've got in the late 80s on wins, and I'm thinking 176. Wow. And I got a lot of respect for him and what he did for this program. And you know, also too, you know, a lot of people know out there, you know, Frank was always there for any charity event, anything that ASU wanted him to do, he was always there. And you know, most people don't realize he traveled to most all of our games when he could physically do it from a health standpoint. He traveled to all of our games and rode the plane with us, and just huge impact on our program. All right. Thanks, guys.